Okay, so I think we are happy that the road trip is over. We are not happy with how it went, and we are not happy with our latest injury. Nathan MacKinnon left the game last night and did not return as of our recording this. We don't know the extent of it, but I just, I'm trying to find the words, Kyle, and we have a half hour that we have to fill. So we need to find the words. Another episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. You can follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns. Concerns to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Get notified when a new show goes live. So, we have to start with the continuation of the most insane, ridiculous, whatever superlative you want to throw in there for what is going on with the Colorado Avalanche when it comes to injuries. And this time it's Nathan MacKinnon. You don't take for granted guys like him just never get injured, but, you don't typically see your superstars get hurt, and he did. He got injured right towards the end of the first period and did not return. So what does that mean? Because the list of players just continues to grow for the Avalanche, and it's just I've never seen anything like this in my life. You said it the other day. We talk about Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar injuries when it comes to the Colorado Avalanche, and we're doing that again today. And just so happens two of those things are the same. Nathan MacKinnon being injured. We'll talk about the game and everything, and how the Avalanche lost that one to the Flyers, which is, we were saying that was a game you had to win. And when that happened, you can't dwell on it for too long. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to sit there and sulk about it, but for when you first hear about it, it is a little bit demoralizing. But you got to get back into the game, and for a lot of it, the Avalanche did, but nothing. Everything is still the same. They just don't have the firepower in depth right now. And when you lose him, oh man, I really hope this is not a long-term thing for MacKinnon.
You can look at this two ways. When Nathan MacKinnon went down, it's sad that we're numb to it.
But
it's
you are, but
it is one of those,
not for someone like him. Yeah.
For every day that we talk about a new Colorado Avalanche injury report and a new name that goes on it, the comments you see a lot in the YouTube comments is, this can't keep going on because you're stressing the top line, and the last thing we want to see is one of them go down.
Right.
Here we are. But
yeah,
let me sprinkle a little sunshine on you. It's early in the season. It's rough. It's Nathan MacKinnon. That's going to hurt. Boston's knocking on the door. That hurts, but we're still in a pretty good place. The season's not over. We can make up ground, but this is not the start we anticipated, wanted, or needed going into 2022-23. And you hope it's nothing serious with Nathan MacKinnon. And then when Newhook took the puck to the face, you just throw up your hands. You're like, anybody else, please, for goodness sake. And we had Galchenyuk out there after being placed on waivers, and he was playing in the game, and you're like, hockey makes no sense anymore. I don't know what I'm doing.
After I think Mikko's the only one left.
Yep.
And you're like you said, Newhook got smacked in the face with a puck, and it's like, okay, now we're getting to those guys. We've got everybody out of the way except for Mikko, and now it's those second tier guys that are going to start getting it. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. And the Avs were playing well
They were.
to start this game. We'll talk about the game in a minute, but the lines for this game were just bizarre. Here we go. So your top line was Cogliano, MacKinnon, and O'Connor. Your second line was Newhook, Rantanen, and Hudon. You had Hunt, Comfer, and Kaut on the third, and then Anton Bleed and Megna and Galchenyuk on the fourth. And even on defense, they moved stuff around, where Sam Girard was on the top line with Cale Makar, and they moved Taves down with Eric Johnson, and you had England again with McDonald. So I wasn't against moving things around, because you almost have to break up McKinnon and Rantanen right now, because that's where everything was going out of, everything. And to try to break that up, I get it. And then what happened? Even when you try to change things up and get something going, this happens. So I've never seen it, man. I've never, as long as I've been following this Colorado Avalanche team, and that's since the year they moved here. You get injuries. Injuries are going to happen, but to have all of this right now is just mind-boggling to me. And it shows. It shows because you can't anticipate, you can't prepare for this. And you just did a very good job, and I commend you on trying to put a positive spin on this. And it is early enough in the season where you hope it doesn't hurt you, and you have somewhat of a timetable when all these guys should be coming back, which should be relatively soon. Like you still have Gabe Landeskog, who is probably still the last one to come back, right? I don't think anybody's beyond.
It's funny. We have Nuke, the choo-choo train, possibly coming back sometime this week, and Gabe Landeskog will be the caboose of that injury train returning back to the Avalanche. So
that's a good point. But you have all these guys coming back, hopefully within a month. So that's good. I mean, I get, like I said, the spin that you're trying to put on it and keep it in a positive tone, but this sucks, man. This sucks because you don't want to get so far behind in the standing, and they're not yet. That now when you do get these guys back, all you're doing for the rest of the year is playing catch up.
Yep.
You don't want to do that either.
Yeah, that's what the Avalanche are going to be doing. Everybody just settle in. It's going to be a fun rest of the year. But I was, after that game was over, and I was trying to, figure out if I was dreaming this, if this is reality. I'm staring into the grid of my drop ceiling, and you remember like 6 years ago when we had injuries galore in the goalie position, and Patrick Waugh was an e-bug for like half of a game. Like it was that we had that situation where Waugh was the coach, and he was slated like he was going to be the e-bug for that night because we had no one else.
I don't remember that.
Yes, it was. Yeah, he was going, and it was exciting because I think it was right before the Red Wings and Avalanche outdoor game. It was that year. But I say this all to say, I wonder if Bednar still has his equipment, because one, he's going to need to wear a helmet on the bench because he's next for getting a puck to the face and then taking a UBI, and then we need to get him out there. We're running out of Eagles. We're going to start calling up Utah Grizzlies, and
it's baffling to me. It really is, and it's just freakish things. You know what I mean? It's not that he was out there for. We were talking earlier about Cale Makar and him playing 30 minutes a game, just because he's out. He's they rely on him so much, and we were like, man, I hope he doesn't get burnt out. Like those are strength and conditioning issues that you're just taxing his body. That is a concern. You can't do anything about a guy just checking you into the boards or throwing you down to the ice. You can't do anything about that. And Philly is a physical team. That's pretty much how they try to get up on you. And you just saw, like, when MacKinnon went out, well, they showed that replay of him taking that shot like right inside the blue line, and then he kind of like winced a little bit. I'm like, you don't come back from that the same day. You don't. There's too much pain there where now that's always, even if you do start feeling a little bit better, every time, he winds up and takes one of those slap shots, if they're on the power play, it's going to be in his head, and he's not going to be 100%. So I really didn't anticipate him coming back in that game. He didn't. And now you have just a mishmash of line combinations that it's just struggling to produce anything. And I get it. And they are trying, but it's just, you don't have that, Mikko Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon connection because they've been playing together for all these years. You don't have that on any of these lines right now.
And remember, Nathan MacKinnon heals like Wolverine. Remember, he broke his finger, was supposed to be out for a couple of weeks. He was back within days. Same with a broken nose. So don't be so doom and gloom that Nathan MacKinnon's out. He might be back sooner than anticipated, but no matter what way you slice this banana, Boston is coming to Ball Arena. And you saw a glimpse of hope towards the end of the game on how the attitude around this team and the remaining soldiers that are left are going to take, led by Mikko Rantanen.
Mm-hmm.
You see this attitude starting to wake up in the team, like, hey, we have to step it up. Everybody's falling. It's on us now. I saw the awakening I was wanting the game before. Maybe we're getting it now, but there's a glimmer of positive here, and this Boston game may not be that ugly.
If you don't have Nathan MacKinnon in that game, it's going to be ugly. I'm just preparing everybody now. Like, I don't know. Like, you're right about, we don't know the extent of his injury, but how can you not just look at this and just fear and assume the worst? And I know you shouldn't do that, but just with all of these injuries now, out of this 4-game road trip, the Avalanche lost Josh Manson, Arturi Lehkonen, and Nathan MacKinnon. That's a bad road trip. Even if you finished 2-2, even if you won that game last night against the Flyers, it's still a bad road trip because you lost 3 huge players. From a point standpoint, yeah, you finished 500. You can say that that's a good road trip. I get it. But what you lost, I know Lehkonen, they're saying, is day to day. Manson is week to week, and we don't know with MacKinnon. That's not a road trip I want to relive.
No, but that's kind of how the Avalanche operate the best when they're kind of counted out. Like now without Nathan MacKinnon, like they're back to the underdog role. Usually when everybody says, oh yeah, they're going to win every game, it's always a struggle. They play down. When you kind of count the Avalanche out, that's when they surprise you. That's what they've been doing for years. Maybe it's time to get back to that style of heartbreaker again.
I mean, you have to. You have to, because you've gone from the top of the mountain in winning that Stanley Cup to now you are sliding down it. And it's not a free fall yet. You didn't get pushed off the top and you're falling to your death, but the rocks below your feet are starting to slide, and you got to stop it as best as you can. So all right, well, we'll get to this game in particular, and then we do have a sound check, of course, that we have to get to in a little bit. But first, we're going to hear from Simply Safe. And we here at Locked On Avalanche, we believe home should be where you and your family feel safest, especially over the holidays. This season, give yourself and your family the gift of peace and protection with the #1 rated home security system, Simply Safe. Right now, Simply Safe is offering our listeners at Locked On Avalanche 40% off a new security home system. Don't put it off. We say all the time how it is the holiday season, and the closer we get to Christmas, the more those wandering eyes are going to be out in your neighborhood looking for any just Amazon boxes on your doorstep to take away from you. So don't miss your chance to save big on our favorite security system. That's 40% off any new system at simplysafe.com/lockedonnhl. That's simplysafe.com/lockedonnhl. And there is no safe like Simply Safe. All right. So more specifically, the game against the Flyers. Yeah, Avalanche lose it 5-3. They did make a go at it towards the end. And it was like bookends. Like the start of this game, they looked good. They had some good jump. They got the first goal of the game. Things were, and it was a power play goal. So things were flowing. And then you had the MacKinnon injury. And I'm sorry, that's going to hurt you at least for a little bit. You have to get back into the game. You can't dwell on it. But I think the Flyers saw that as an opportunity to pounce and really start like upping the physicality of the game, which is how they play. John Tortorella's teams do two things. They play physical and they dump and chase over and over and over and over again. And if they can get some greasy goals in the meantime, they will. They had some pretty good, I think, man, which one? I don't want to give them credit, but the Tony DeAngelo one, I like they had some okay goals in this game, but this is a team that struggles to score.
Yeah.
And you let them score 5. One was an empty netter. Okay. I don't know. Like I still feel like even though down Nathan MacKinnon, I get it. You just have so many guys that we said earlier haven't played together. I still feel like you have to beat this team. And you can't get down on yourself because you lost him. You should have still won this game, and they had an opportunity at the end. They made it exciting, but when the Flyers got that empty netter, that really just sealed the deal.
Yeah, there's really no excuse for losing to the Flyers.
Injuries.
They are.
That's the only
even that, like, to give Philly their second win in 14 games. You don't want that tally. A full squad of the Colorado Eagles on any given night could beat the Flyers, and they were reeling, and they knew it, and they felt like they had their chance to prove it, and we gave it to them. Yeah. Georgiev was okay.
I don't know, man. Like, I haven't given up on him in any stretch of the imagination, but how we were saying couple weeks ago, as well as he's playing, you just expect him to hit some sort of lull, and this might be it right now.
Yeah.
You needed him. You needed him last night, and he didn't really come through. So I don't know. Like, what's he? Are they going to put him back out there for the Bruins game? I would think so. You give him a day off, and then he's right back out there. I don't think you're going to put Francouz back out there, especially final loss. If he had beaten the Bruins, maybe you throw him back out there. But I think, this is Georgiev. And what do they always say with him? The opportunity he's going to get with the Avalanche is he's going to play a lot. And that's when he gets into a groove and he's not, just playing every few games, backing up Shesterkin and things like that. So I think he's going to be out there for the Bruins game. And I anticipate him having a really good game because he needs one. He really needs. This was not a good trip for him.
Yeah, the gap between Frankie and Georgiev is, they're back neck and neck now. It's 1A, 1B because he's starting to get floaty. It's not just bad breaks. He's getting floaty, overcompensating, overplaying. He's doing a little too much. He needs to settle down.
But remember how, like, a month ago we were saying, like, they're neck and neck, and they were both playing out of their mind.
Now we're back down.
Yeah, now we're neck and neck, and they're struggling a little bit. So you're going to go through that with goalies, but I think that's why they put them right back out there. I even tweeted about it. I had some issues with Mikko Rantanen, and let me see what he finished with as far as shots on goal. 3. When I tweeted it out, he only had 2, and that was with about like 7 minutes left in the game. So he got 1 more shot on goal.
That was a goal.
It was that, because that was right. Yeah, with like 3.5 minutes left. Yeah, that was the goal. That was it. So to me, it was just, he needed to really just be that guy. And I know that's a lot to ask when you have so many guys out. But he needed to be the one where the offense ran through him. And yeah, it's kind of easy to kind of focus in on him when you're down. He's the only guy left in that top line essentially now, even though he started on the second line in this game. But he's got to find ways. He's that talented and he's that big of a body where he can find ways, work without the puck. You have got Alex Newhook can kind of like maneuver and play make with the puck while you find open ice. There's ways to do it. And he wasn't finding open ice. He wasn't finding shooting lanes to the net, and it resulted in 3 shots on goal. I thought he was passing way too much last night.
But I know he can rise to the occasion, because wasn't
Sure.
it 1920 or 1819 where both Landy and Nate were out and Mikko carried the team?
You're right.
So it's a role that he knows he could take, and what better place to get back to that Mikko Rantanen against Boston? But that's something I know he can handle because he's done it before, exponentially. It was a great level of play that he had, but yeah, towards the middle frame, I think he was just as confused as the fans with what is going on. Especially, I think it was really evident after the new hook puck to the face. That whole team felt lost, disoriented, and they just wanted to get out of there.
I mean, it might be, it's different when you have to make that change in game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for a little while, you're probably still looking back at the bench, and is MacKinnon gonna return? And you don't know. You're still in that kind of like limbo situation. So maybe it's a little bit unfair to like tag him with that middle of the game to just change everything and just be the guy. But he's got to do that. He's got to know, like, okay, I can't keep looking over there. I'm not saying he was doing this. I'm just saying, like, if he comes back, he comes back. If he doesn't, I still have to be the guy. You're right. When he really stepped up a few years ago, going into those games, I am the guy. So maybe if they're not going to have Lehkonen, if they don't have MacKinnon, maybe he goes in with a different mindset at the start of the game rather than halfway through it, where the papers just got thrown up in the air last night.
Yep.
So, what we did do?
I was waiting. You
know what we won last night? Face-off percentages. So we won some.
The ship is sinking, but boy, the music is great.
51% to 49%. They won that bad boy. 32 shots on goal compared to the Flyers 34. You were 1 for 1 on your power plays, and then you went 0 for 4 after that. And you let the Flyers, who have the worst power play in the league, go 2 for 3. That hurts a little bit. And as far as hits go, here you go. The Avs threw 29 hits while the Flyers threw 37. That's their game. And again, the Bruins were a physical team too. I don't ever feel like a team can be so physical with the Avalanche that it gets them out of their game. What got the Avalanche out of their game was Nathan MacKinnon getting injured, and then now we're just crisscrossing lines and putting guys together. Like, that's what got the Avalanche out of their game.
Yeah, we're improving on some things, and hey, maybe it's Nathan MacKinnon not taking faceoffs. No, it's you could take that little victory out, and we have to have some sort of cohesion. And I know we mentioned earlier Mikko Rantanen. This is prime JT Comfer. It is time to go.
And he looked good.
He does. Like, I feel like he's right there. And I feel like with all of this, he's going to get in that locker room, look at Mikko and know, hey, it's me and you, bud. We got to go.
Yeah. And he can rise to the occasion. He rises in the playoffs.
Yep.
So whatever you do in the playoffs, JT, we need that in December.
Yep. This is the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Game 1 against Boston.
Exactly.
Wednesday.
All right. We got a sound check to get to, and then a little bit more about the game. So you can follow this playlist. Kyle and I will pick songs that we feel best summarize the most recent game and put those on a playlist over on Spotify. Just search for LOA Soundcheck. This is volume number 2. And what do you got for the game against the Flyers?
This is going to sound very left field, but this is a band very near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Oingo Boingo.
Whoa.
I love Danny Elfman, love Oingo Boingo. Who do you want to be today?
Great title.
It's a great, incredible. When this hits the playlist, seek this song out. This is an absolute banger of a song. And this is honestly like a gut check for the Avalanche. Like, you lost Nathan MacKinnon, you're losing your poster guys. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the defending Stanley Cup champions, or do you want to continue being the headline going into every sports talk show today? The
Yeah.
Avalanche lost to the Flyers. Let's point and laugh. Who do you want to be?
I love it. And mine is kind of in that same realm. I kind of had the same idea. I went with the awesome and powerful Audio Slave, which is my, probably my favorite band ever. And with all of these unproven young prospects coming up and just getting thrown into the fire, your time has come. And it's the first single off their second album called Out of Exile. And that's it. Like, we can't dwell on this. We could have come up with songs, and we've done it. We've come up with songs where it's like, oh, like we're sulking in our own misery. But no, now it's time to, pull yourself up by the skate straps and make a name for yourself.
Yep.
Who is it going to be? Because we need more than one. We're you could even put Holding Out for a Hero if you wanted to put that song in here.
What was that? Short Circuit? I think that was a Short Circuit too.
That song?
Yeah.
It was in Footloose too, I think.
Yeah.
Holding Out for a Hero. Yeah.
That shows you the upbringing I had.
Yeah. But yeah, your time has come, because it's here, and you got to seize that moment. So we'll see, but you can definitely check those songs out on Spotify. And then I wanted to kind of talk about the Flyers as a team. And this was Carter Hart winning them this game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what a time for him to decide to, I don't know if this was his best game. I don't watch a ton of Flyer games, but he played great.
Yeah.
He played great. And I got to be honest, like, the rest of the Flyers team didn't impress me all that much.
No.
Yeah, I know you got 5 goals, one with an empty netter, but that's why it's a little bit even more like twist the knife, because I still feel like even down Nathan MacKinnon, the Avalanche should have won that game. The Flyers just kind of skate around. They're like just your basic hockey team where if they get a look, they're going to fire the puck on net and see what happens. That's not a bad thing to do, but it's not impressive. Where the Avalanche, when they're on their game, you watch that and you're just in awe. Nothing about the Flyers impressed me. So that's why I'm a little bit even more bitter about this, is because you are still a better team than they are.
And that's honestly, if you want to sum the last night's game up, it was cohesion in the Flyers. It doesn't matter about their talent. They play together. They know what they're getting. And like the Avalanche, it was like you kicked the top off of an anthill. And the Avalanche were just scrambling, trying to put things back together. And it was just all out of sorts. Everybody was just scrambling. That's what the Avalanche felt like. It was just chaos. Just trying to make lines work and plays work. The Flyers, they are not the most talented team, but they play together. They know what they can do. Them just being a cohesive unit, and Carter Hart having, I reference him all the time, but it's a Burakovsky type goalie. He has 1 or 2 good games a month, and the rest are very mediocre to average, and that's his career.
Yeah. And then for the Avalanche, you had Charlie Houdon come up. I thought he played good, man. He's a scrapper. There was a couple chances like right in front of the net where he's falling to the ice and throwing the puck on net.
Yeah.
You know how many shots on goal he had? 7. He had 7 shots on goal.
I was going to say 6.
He was fighting for every inch. So I liked that. But Jason Megna had some head scratching moments last night. Just threw a puck to absolutely nobody and in the defensive zone. And he did it a couple times, and it turned into really, really good chances for the Flyers that they didn't turn into any goals. If they had, he would have been on the bench. I don't know why he wasn't anyway, because he made a couple of those amateur blind passes behind the net, and nobody was there. The closest person was a Flyer. So he had a really, really rough game. I don't know if he just took the MacKinnon injury harder than anybody else, but he had a rough game.
I think he also read Twitter and saw that he was waived, and he's like, okay, fine.
You want to waive me? I guess I'm
You
just going
got
to
it.
throw in the towel here. So, but he can be okay for this. He can be a solid depth guy. You're not going to expect miracles out of him, but they've called him up more than probably any other guy from the Eagles over the past couple of years. So they obviously have some faith in him. I'm not going to say they lost it last night, but I kind of feel like he is a product of when this team is healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if he has a good fourth line that he can play with, knowing that you know the other lines are just firing on all cylinders, and you're wearing that other team down because you're just rolling four line. He'll take advantage of that. But
Yeah.
when you ask him to step up, that's tough. It's tough to ask him to do that, and not blaming him because he couldn't. He just seemed in a fog last night for some reason.
I have a feeling that every time Colorado calls Loveland to call up a player, Magna answers the phone first. Like Arthur Fonzarelli, he just like hits it and picks it up. And they're like, no, we're calling up Kaut. And he passes it to Kaut. But like Magna, he's been up and down so many times, and he's been decent, like a C plus, just like fix a hole here kind of player. But he's never surpassed that. And
No.
to see him like take a step back, you're like, come on, man.
And I don't expect him to surpass that. That's what he
No.
is. That's what he's there for.
You know
But
exactly what you're getting out of Magna. That's why it's so striking when he has those games where he's just throwing it to no one. You start to lose a little faith in even getting that out of him.
Yeah. And you know, when you're down what you're down, you need to take advantage of certain plays. And Martin Kaut had a breakaway, and even Cale Makar had a breakaway.
Yeah.
And neither of those guys could put those home. So you know, easier said than done. But it's just same
Wave
thing
them
going
too.
Yeah.
Just come on.
Just start wave everybody.
That's it. Let's redraft.
So a day off, and then Boston comes to town. So we'll keep an eye for this Nathan MacKinnon news. I haven't been checking while we've been recording, so maybe we already know. I don't know, but maybe by the morning we will. Can we just start getting guys back? That's what kills it. Like, we keep losing guys. We're not getting anybody in return yet. I just want to bring some guys back before we lose anymore. It's all one-sided right now. We're giving everybody up and we're not getting anybody in return. So
winning helps.
It does. And we were doing that in November. We still had these injuries, and we were on a pretty good run, and we were feeling pretty good about it. All these young guys getting experience and winning. And now we're seeing the other side of it. It's not always sunshine. So, but we will be back tomorrow with any updates on Nathan MacKinnon or anybody else. Like Nichushkin is skating and looks pretty good while he's skating. So maybe he's sooner rather than later. You want to get news like that. All right, everybody. That is going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure to follow us on our social media outlets. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.